Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin, the podcast where we bring you the latest news and updates from around the world. I'm your host, Barbara, and I'm thrilled to have you joining us today. In our first segment, we're going to take a closer look at some significant changes in the UK's vehicle excise duty, also known as car tax. As of April 1st, electric vehicles are no longer exempt from this tax, and owners will now have to pay a standard rate after the first year of registration. This change has sparked debate among industry experts and car owners alike. According to recent reports, the new tax system could make it more difficult for people to switch to electric vehicles, as the overall cost has increased with the scrapping of the exemption. Some commentators argue that this move may prompt employers to look for cheaper alternatives to EVs, while others believe that the changes will increase demand for electric cars as the gap between what's paid for electric and petrol or diesel cars is being widened. We've also seen some manufacturers, like Vauxhall, adjusting their pricing strategy in response to these changes. The company has announced that all of its electric vehicles are now priced below £40,000, which means they won't be subject to the expensive car supplement. It's essential to note that these changes affect not only electric vehicle owners, but also those who own petrol and diesel cars. The first year's tax for new petrol and diesel cars could be double what it was last year, depending on the vehicle's emissions. For example, a new 1-liter Ford Puma with 120 km of emissions now costs double what it did last year. As we continue to monitor the situation, it's clear that there are differing opinions on how these changes will impact the automotive industry and the environment. We'll be keeping a close eye on developments and bringing you updates as more information becomes available. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. I hope you're all having a great day so far. We've got a fascinating story to share with you now, straight from Africa. As we continue to explore the complex issues surrounding refugee settlements, we turn our attention to Kakuma, one of the largest refugee camps in Africa. Located in Kenya, Kakuma has been home to hundreds of thousands of refugees over the years, fleeing conflict and persecution from neighboring countries. But as the camp continues to grow, there's a new vision on the horizon: to transform it into a thriving, self-reliant city. The idea is to create a sustainable economy that can support not only the refugees but also the local community. To make this vision a reality, organizations like Inkomoko are providing financial training and low-cost loans to refugee business owners. We hear from Julian Euler, who runs Inkomoko, about how refugees have the characteristics that make world-class entrepreneurs: resilience, access to networks, and a determination to succeed. One such entrepreneur is Adele Mubalama, who fled Congo with her family in 2018. With the help of Inkomoko, she's built a thriving tailoring business, employing 26 people and making a profit of over $8,000 last year. Another success story is Mesfin Getahun, a former soldier who's grown his retail chain into one of the largest in Kakuma. However, not everyone is convinced that this vision can become a reality. Some experts argue that Kakuma lacks the resources and infrastructure to sustain a viable economy, and that refugees need more freedom to move elsewhere in Kenya to find better job opportunities. As we consider the complexities of this issue, it's clear that there are no easy answers. But what is certain is that the fate of hundreds of thousands of refugees hangs in the balance. Will Kakuma become a beacon of hope for those seeking a new life, or will it remain a temporary solution to a much larger problem? Only time will tell. That's all for this segment of Barbara's Bulletin. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we wrap up today's show, I'd like to bring your attention to a couple of stories that have been making headlines in the world of technology and international news. Firstly, Let's take a look at the situation with Telegram, a popular messaging app. The company has been accused of removing a Russian news channel, AIDailyPress, which had over 1.1 million subscribers. The channel's owners claim that the removal was done at the request of the Russian authorities, including the Prosecutor General's office and the Federal Security Service. However, Telegram has denied any involvement, stating that the channel was deleted by its owner due to unauthorized access. It's worth noting that VCHK had been previously fined by a Russian court for failing to delete certain content, and its owners have been designated as foreign agents by the Russian Justice Ministry. This development raises concerns about censorship and the role of social media platforms in regulating online content. In related news, the Russian market has taken a hit due to global economic uncertainty, particularly with regards to the recent actions of former U.S. President Donald Trump. The Moscow Stock Exchange has seen significant fluctuations, and investors are keeping a close eye on the situation. As we consider these stories, it's essential to approach them with a critical and nuanced perspective. While social media platforms like Telegram have a responsibility to regulate their content, they must also balance this with the need to protect free speech and user privacy. Similarly, international economic developments can have far-reaching consequences, and it's crucial to stay informed and up to date on the latest news. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.